blueberries aren't actually the real story. Come with me, an epidemiologist, to the grocery store as I take you on a food journey. Contrary to popular belief, the number of food recalls isn't actually up this year, okay? It's on par with previous years, but what is up is the level of illness that has resulted from those items that have been recalled. The FDA doesn't test every food product before it hits the shelves, okay? The food manufacturers are legally responsible for doing that under federal law. The FDA just confirms it, and they do that through 4 mechanisms. The first is product sampling. It's random. The second is facility inspections. The third is market surveillance. And the fourth is post-market actions. For example, recalls. When the FDA does recall something, there's 3 categories. The first is class 1, the worst of them all, potentially lethal. For example, currently blueberries. The second is class 2, temporary harm. For example, currently lettuce. And lastly, class 3, the mildest of them all, technically violates protocols but very low likelihood of harm. Which brings us back to the numbers. The number of outbreaks we're seeing at this point, halfway through 2025, is actually slightly lower than this time last year, but the scale of class 1 and class 2 outbreaks is way up, and the level of illness from those outbreaks is up 100-fold. The cyclospora outbreak, the parasite in the lettuce, yeah, that's the 3rd largest foodborne outbreak of any kind on record. 14,000 Americans were infected by it. They're still not sure where it came from because tracing requires people. And since 2025, the FDA has lost over 4,000 employees. The CDC has lost over 3,000, which means lower product sampling, lower market surveillance, lower facility inspections. Think about it this way. More regulations equals more recalls, but low illness. Less regulation equals less recalls, but high illness. And that isn't rocket science. We've seen it over and over again. DOGE cut a program called FoodNet, which was responsible for monitoring 8 foodborne pathogens. And since they did that, we have had outbreaks for at least 3 of those 8. For example, the screwworm in the beef, or the hantavirus on the cruise ships. Combine that with the fact that this administration has destroyed health communication and recall communication, and you've got yourself the trifecta of foodborne illness. So in truth, the blueberries aren't the real story here. The real story is the number of recalls we probably aren't even hearing about because of how intensely this administration has decimated the FDA.